it's a pain in the butt. You hit your ball in the trees and then you lip out the putt. But if you've got a little time, then come and spend it with us. 'Cause now you're listening to the Rough Cut.
Hello, and welcome down to another installment of the Rough Cut Golf Podcast, coming at you straight from the west coast of Scotland, famous for its golf course and street rap music. I am joined here by my co-hosts of David Barwise, Jacob Broadbridge, and Kieran Mulhall. Mick, who is normally on the podcast, he is currently away gallivanting in the sands of Portugal, so he is not here to take part in what will be another potentially award-winning episode. Gentlemen, how are we?
Very good, thank you.
This is a award-winning podcast in the same way that when you go to a pub, they have their award-winning pies.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what awards they've won, where they've come from, but they seem to make the claim, so why not? Why can't we?
It was self-gifted.
Yeah. David, what award have we won this week?
Most ambitious.
Most ambitious podcast 2023. We'll take the medal. Thank you.
Well done, everyone.
You said that was so cute.
That's really
so
good.
cute.
I've always wanted to be a part of the Most Ambitious Golf podcast this week.
Yeah.
It's when I left school, I told my teachers, and they said, "No, you'll never amount to anything." I said, "No, one day I'm going to have the most ambitious podcast in a week."
Yeah.
Why can't I say that word?
Well, maybe we can
Ambitious.
Ambitious.
I think maybe as of this week, we're maybe the best dressed as well.
I would say so. I am literally never going to take this half. I don't know why, because I know it looks a bit stupid, but I just love it. I don't know why.
Yeah. Maybe this is the one week if you're someone who just listens to the podcast, just go and pop on YouTube or just have a look on Spotify.
Honestly,
and see.
just look on YouTube or any of our social media accounts for probably the next 4 weeks.
That's
and
true.
And you will see this beautiful bucket hat. It's bucket hat season. That's what I've heard.
Yeah. September is always the month for the bucket hat, I've heard.
It's like for festivals, isn't it?
Yeah. It's like one of those things like you get. It's like a T-shirt that's not your usual style, but for whatever reason you just love it.
Yeah.
Everyone else is quite polite about it. They never really talk about it too much, but it's always there in the room. It's always like a little elephant in the corner.
Oh, you should hear what us three have been saying already behind your back.
Yeah, but honestly, I don't care.
Okay.
I like it that much.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
You shouldn't let other people's opinions decide or dictate how you live your life. So
thank you very much. I'm not going to say it was love at first sight.
love at fourth or fifth.
Yeah, no, I went into the shop, I tried it on, and I was like, I really like it. But then I let other people kind of like maybe talk me out of it. So then I went back. It's like I saw someone at the bar who I really liked. I really wanted their number. But then like my friends were saying, no, she's bad news. Like you don't want to go out with her. But then I went back the next day and I was like, Margaret, can I have your number? And then we've been inseparable ever since.
Ah. That's lovely.
Thanks.
For you and Margaret, and now your bucket hat.
And now my hat has a name.
I mean, I don't want to say it because it'll sound a bit too egotistical coming from myself. But do you feel more confident wearing a bucket hat after seeing my wearing of it the other day?
It definitely sparked something within me.
It?
Yeah.
Did it do something?
I thought, you know what, bucket hat. I've never worn one, and then they were just there in the shop.
Yeah.
Literally never worn a bucket hat.
I didn't realize there were so many different ways of wearing it as well. Like Jacob had it like the flap up at the front.
Yeah, a bit of that going on.
Yeah, it looked like Paddington Bear. Whereas Pete, because you've got it squashed underneath, like underneath your headset, you do look like those hats they wear in a fish and chip shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, like halfway between that and it being like is it a Stetson that they wear?
Yeah.
So halfway between those.
But I love that. I love a Stetson.
If the sides came down, all I see is you could be stood in the middle umpiring a cricket match.
See, this one, look how multifunctional it is.
Yeah.
I could walk out of here, jump on a boat and go fishing in this hat, depending on how I wore it as well.
Yeah.
I could be a man of many talents. And I love that. I love that about this hat.
I love that it's taken you 10 years of being a content creator to actually find a gimmick so well done.
I can't believe it's taken me this long to be so excited about like a piece of headwear.
Yeah.
Go figure.
I can't believe it's taken us this long to take 5 minutes to talk about attire on your head. But
you know
here
what?
we are.
Well, why not? That is why we're the most ambitious podcast.
There we go.
We are currently on, like I said, the west coast of Scotland. We're at Dundonald Links. We've had a fantastic week here. We've somehow, and this is just happenstance, managed to arrive when summer has taken place. The summer in the UK this year has been pretty much non-existent. It's just been rubbish.
Abysmal.
But this week, it has been mid to late 20s, beaming sunshine and no wind. This on the west coast of Scotland is maybe a harbinger of the coming apocalypse, because this has never happened before. This is a proper grandparents in 50 years' time will sit their grandkids down and say, you weren't there in the September of 2023. You don't know what hot is. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Stop your whining.
it is very good. Me and David, we went for a sea dip yesterday, didn't we? And we thought that, well, I thought that it was going to be freezing because, you know, I was trying not to kid myself that you know, the
We
heat
are
was,
still in Scotland as
yeah,
well.
definitely. Yeah. So I was like, all right, it's going to be really cold, David. And then we got in. It was like a blooming bath, wasn't it?
Yeah, I thought I was going to take some, like, convincing. I was just coming to, like, mind you, to be honest, to make sure you didn't run off into the sea. But no, it was actually glorious. We actually walked all the way to Arran as well, I think.
Yeah, so in that sort of area, like, you can literally go out, like, at least 200 metres before, I mean... Well, how far do you reckon we went out? Like 150 metres, something like that?
I'm pretty sure the first time you told the story it was 50.
Yeah, it's kind of like that big fish, little fish sort of thing. I reckon we went out about 150 metres, and I still could, like, I could still touch the bottom and still, like,
Keep your
have
head
my
above.
eyes were still there, but my nose was over, but my eyes wasn't. But
Couldn't breathe, but I could see.
Yeah, I couldn't breathe, but I could see. But no, it's lovely. It's very, very nice.
I think just in case you are going for a dip, I think it's the Bay of Arran, isn't it?
The Bay of Arran, yeah.
If you are thinking of going for a dip in the Bay of Arran, we have to make sure everybody knows we don't know the full underwater topography of the area. So if you are coming to experience a 150-metre walk out into the sea, we cannot guarantee that will take place. I was also a little bit concerned about this. The last time I went out into that body of water, I saw potentially the biggest gathering of jellyfish I've ever seen in my life. So I was a little bit worried when you said you were going to go for a swim.
Well, do you remember when we walked to Troon and, like, we were walking along that beach and saw, like, how
There was
It was like a graveyard.
yeah,
there was some
and there were some big ones as
big
well,
boys there,
like
yeah.
man of war ones.
Yeah,
you see
yeah.
in Portugal.
Like proper like man-eaters, I would say.
Yeah,
Yeah, like they're grown so big because they had a steady diet of whale.
yeah,
Like they were big.
yeah.
Did you see any?
But you survived, well done.
Did you see any?
No, we didn't.
No,
No,
no.
we didn't.
No, he didn't run into any.
Okay, that's
And then I think we're going to Arran tomorrow as well, which is going to be really cool. But
Yeah.
we've managed to get a lot of stuff filmed here this week, quite a bit of social content. So should keep us going for a couple of weeks, and then we've got literally 3 weeks of chaos. So we're down at Wentworth next week, doing the BMW Celebrity Pro-Am. The week after that, we're heading over to Spain for the Solheim Cup, playing the course afterwards as well. And then the week after that, we are heading to Rome and the Ryder Cup. So it's going to be pretty intense. We're going to have a lot of stuff coming your way, especially... I think Ryder Cup's the only one where we're not entirely sure fully what we're going to be doing yet, because like we can't film there. I don't think we're playing the course afterwards. So we might be able to get a few podcasts done, but it might just be me and David, like maybe watching golf.
Oh, you don't want to do that.
Yeah, you said that as if that's, like, weird.
Well, yeah. Well, when was the last time we watched golf?
What, in person?
Yeah.
Probably Arizona.
The Open?
Oh, yeah, the Open, yeah.
I literally didn't watch anything.
All right, yeah, but you said when did we, and I just included me in that. So
Oh, right, sorry.
Arizona was the last time you watched it.
Yeah, I mean, like we sat down.
right, okay,
Yeah, Arizona for you.
Yeah,
Probably Arizona style. Yeah.
Yeah.
but we were only in there for like an hour, and we sat at one green for about 30 minutes. And
Yeah,
that was
that's
it.
true. Oh yeah, that's when we were tracking. Was it Kieran who went for a wee, and we were trying to track him all the way.
Yeah, we did.
Kieran was desperate for a wee at the waste management, and he had to run around an entire hole to get to the toilets. And when he got there, they were clear when he set off. And when he got there, there was a queue of about 30 people, and all you could see was just Kieran like hopping from foot to foot for about half a mile away.
You weren't hard to track, I'll tell you that.
Oh, it was quite the sight.
Does this mean we have to go in costume then? If we're actually going to go as proper Ryder Cup fans?
Yeah, like the Guardians of the Ryder Cup or whatever they dress as.
Yeah,
It's
like-
Guardians. Yeah.
Yeah, it's is it Banana Man?
The Banana Man. Yeah.
Banana Man. We could join them.
You get,
Yeah.
like, face paintings as well.
Face painting.
We already discussed on the last episode that you're getting your Moronk t-shirts ready, so you have
Yeah,
them.
that's true.
You've
Oh,
got
yeah.
your bucket hat now.
Yeah, we're getting our Justice for Morong t-shirts.
Yeah.
Kind of done. Just what did we come up? I am Moronk. Or
Mates with Moronk.
Mates with what was it?
Mates.
We're all Moronk, something like that.
Yeah.
We need to come up with a slogan to get those T-shirts printed. I'm sure we'd make it on TV, and I'm sure Adrian would appreciate that.
We are playing the Solheim Cup course after, though, aren't we?
Yes, we are. We are Finca Courtesan. I'm going to be interested to see what it's like. First of all, I'm really interested at that course. How many birdies, like how well they're going to play it.
Yeah.
Because it is a very hard golf course.
Yeah, no.
I'm interested to see what happens with the fans, because there are multiple ravines on this golf course.
Have you seen the first tee up on what is the fourth?
Yes, I have. So they changed the fourth to the first. They've got like they basically built it onto one of the hills, haven't they?
It looks scary.
It does
Sketchy,
look,
doesn't it?
yeah. It kind of looks like someone said it'd be a good idea.
Yes, and then like the logistics didn't quite.
Yeah, but they've managed to get it up. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm presuming they've tested it.
Yeah.
Like just sent one of the builders up there, just jump up and down it a few times. Yeah, seems pretty solid.
It's got a bit of wobble, but
Yeah, be all right. That'd be all right.
that's going to be a hell of a first hole, though.
Yeah, that will be absolutely intense. I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a good couple of weeks of traveling, actually seeing some golf, and again, just producing some really, really cool videos. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. It's just intense, isn't it?
Yeah.
Intense into the year.
Talking of interesting new content, we had a video come out yesterday, which is Thursday of the previous week, if you're listening to the podcast now, where we've done the Restart Your Golf Career. And it's kind of one of a few things that we've got in the pipeline / coming up with that is a little bit different to what we've done in the past, trying to come up with slightly different concepts. So if you haven't watched that, please go and head over now, because it's actually quite important if you go watch it.
Yeah,
watch all of it.
It's absolutely bloody vital.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
We really need you to watch it.
Like we've got, like restarting golf bag, restarting golf career. Like we've done videos like this
Similar
in the past. But what we're doing this time is we're doing a video where, for the amount of views that we get, that's going to be giving us a dependent on how much budget that we have. Mm-hmm. What's the best way of saying it? It's basically how many people watch it depends how much ad revenue we get, and how much ad revenue we get depends on how much budget we have to restart.
The money that is made off that video, we will do a new video where you completely restart your golf career using that budget, and that budget will fully depend on who watches, how many people watch it, and how long they watch it for. And that's all we need you to do. Just go and watch the video.
At the time of recording, I've made a private estimation on how much Pete currently has to work with for his. So
okay.
Yeah, so Pete might be able to afford half a driver at this point. So if you could check it out.
It's only been a day.
It's only been a day.
Depends what driver you get. After my calculations,
Listen, it depends on a lot of different factors, doesn't it? Let's face it. But it also sparked a discussion amongst us as well about kind of bags and clubs and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
And we had some disagreements about a subject which, like, a lot of people do ask us about. So if you had to pick one manufacturer, and it can only be one, and it's got to be current. So current manufacturers from Callaway all the way through to Mizuno, whoever it's going to be. You can only pick one, and you've got to have their clubs from driver all the way through to putter. Balls were excluded because balls kind of, well, just everywhere. But you can only have one, and you've got to fight your corner. So we had this discussion about kind of who we would pick, and we all picked somebody different. And we are going to have a court-style discussion with cross-examinations where we are going to rip apart everyone's arguments about who they would have as their number one club manufacturer from driver through to putter, just in case any of us get a tour sponsorship. You know, it could happen.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Maybe one day. I wasn't really going to go for a tour sponsorship. I was going to go for, like, that was my throat.
Your throat? Wow. That was a weird sound.
That was a really odd sound.
That was really odd.
It's like that thing that happened with Mick, where his throat just started talking without his mouth.
You were talking and it happened.
That came from down deep. Is it trying to get out?
No, I don't know.
We're going to have an alien moment.
No, I think we'll be okay. I've completely lost my train of thought.
Now, I honestly don't mind starting off with this, because I've actually, for once in my life, done a lot of research into this.
Okay, well,
right.
if you feel confident, then go for it.
I do, and
Could I,
my thing is, so
I'll get this right.
essentially,
Get him his coffee. There we go.
Thank
like
you. I'm interested.
I think you could probably guess, if you're an avid listener to the podcast, what I have chosen. Now, I've chosen Srixon.
That's such a whiffy choice.
Yeah,
so whiffy.
I've gone for Srixon, and I've gone for Srixon for many different reasons. Now, on my first initial thought, I thought, you know what, how can we wheedle Brooks Koepka into this? You know, because he's my favourite golfer in the world, my idol. I literally love you. But then I thought, actually, no, this is a podcast, and this is going to be more about the golfer, the average golfer, and myself, which I am an average golfer. Now, I've taken the the top 5 leading brands in golf, which is Ping, TaylorMade, Titleist, Callaway, and then, in my opinion, Srixon. And obviously, at the moment, we're in a bit of a financial global crisis. So, you know...
Where are we going? what have you done over there?
So, I've basically gone for... I've looked at price, essentially. Not only is it about price, but also the value for money as well, in terms of, like, performance and stuff like that. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that Srixon is the best golf brand across the board, because it's not, and neither can all of you three say that your brand that you're picking is the best across the board.
Wait until you hear my argument.
I am not.
Because you'd be talking.
I am not conceding that point.
Because you'd be
Absolutely
talking.
not.
You'd be talking rubbish. In my opinion, out of these five brands, I'd say that Srixon makes the best irons. Now, their current. I've gone for a mid-handicap golfer as well in all of this bag that I've made for each other, and I've gone for the ZX5s, which is £899, 5 pitch and wedge, and they're forged. So for Titleist, T200, which is the brand new T200s, 1,200 quid. TaylorMade, I've gone for the P790s, 1,029. Ping's the I525s, because I think that's a pretty mid-handicap club. That's £999. And the Callaways, I don't think any of you guys have picked Callaway, but I've just had to include them in this, which is 1,089 quid. Now, I'm not going to rattle through all of them because I'll bore you to death. But if I was to take everyone, all of the clubs, driver, 3-wood, hybrid, 5-pitch and wedge, 3 wedges, and a putter, and I have included balls in this because that's also a very important point as well. So Ping come out at £2,819. This is if you were to go on American Golf and buy a brand new set from straight.
Other online retails are available.
Yeah, but that's the one I've used for, because I've had to make it as scientific as possible. You know what I mean? Keep it all the same. TaylorMade, £2,754, so a bit cheaper than Ping. Titleist, £3,249, which is extortionate. Callaway, £2,888, but then Srixon, £2,349. Now that is, I think, second place would be, or the second cheapest is TaylorMade, which is around 400 quid cheaper. So the big one of that obviously is going to be the putter, because obviously Srixon don't make putters, but Cleveland do. Which they're part of it. So I've gone for the Huntington Beach, which is £99. Do you know what? It looked quite good. It got a milled face.
Yeah, just in case people are wondering, Srixon own Cleveland, so that's why we're allowing this.
Yes, yeah. So actually Dunlop own Srixon as well.
So have you got any Dunlop stuff in there?
I've not got any Dunlop stuff in there.
If you were so concerned and worried about price,
yeah,
why don't you get some Dunlop stuff in there?
I'd quite happily get some Dunlop stuff in there if I'll get some balls in there or stuff like that. But even this is the thing as well, is that I didn't even go for the cheapest ball for Z-Star for Srixon, because I was like, oh my God, I've got so much money to play with here.
But balls weren't even included, so why are you trying to bring it in? It was specifically no balls.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that I've got so much money to play with now that I was just like, yeah, do you know what? I'm just going to splash out on some balls because I've got all this money spare. You know what I mean? If I was bloody Titleist, I got 3,200 quid.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
With your Srixon irons,
yes,
were they the Mark IIs or were they the original ZX5s?
These are the Mark IIs, 5-pitch and wedge Mark II.
Okay.
Those other prices that you developed, were they all 5 to
pitch
and wedge, or were they 4 to pitch and wedge?
All 5 to pitch. I checked that. All 5 to pitch.
I'm not sure, Your Honour. Can we have a slight recess while we go check that? That's
so what? So the I-25 is 999, P790 is 1,229, T200s.
Hey, listen.
1,249.
I'm not here to start talking about like what irons represent the best value for money.
Yeah.
I'm talking about which brand overall is going to offer the best bag from top to bottom. Now you've just admitted freely that Srixon as a brand doesn't do putters for a start.
Well, yeah, no,
I'm presuming you've not got Srixon wedges in the bag.
I've got Cleveland.
Okay.
So I've got Cleveland wedges in the bag. So
Which are very good.
They are very, very good. You were very close to putting them in your bag. So I've got the RTX 6s, which are £139. The Titleist are £159. The TaylorMade's £159. The Ping £139, and the Callaway's £159. So they're the cheapest wedges.
Do you know what my main issue with this so far is, Kieran?
What's that?
This is if someone has a full bag of Srixons, this is always what they do. They're so obsessed with what everyone else is doing. Why can't you just be happy and confident with the choices that you've made on their own merits? Why have you got to say, and I got these irons because they're cheaper than these other irons? Why can't you just say, these Mark IIs are just unbelievable. I think they're the best out there because you can't.
No, I currently have some ZX7s in the bag, and they are the best irons that I've ever hit. You know, they're forged irons, and yeah, nothing's ever come close. But I'm not trying to think about my own experience. I'm trying to think about what the best value for money is in terms of feel and performance and price. So I've got a forged club here, and a beautiful forged club at that, in the ZX5s, and I've paid 5 to pitching wedge £899. Whereas if I go to Titleist, I've got the T200s, which are £1,249. So, you know, I've already saved around £300 there.
Even I completely missed the brief, or Kieran has just decided to go another way with it, I don't know, but I completely avoided price with this because I just thought money is no object. I'm just going to go for what through the bag do I want as the strongest brand. And that is why I've gone with TaylorMade. Now, that might not be a surprise to you guys, given the fact that most of my bag is made up by TaylorMade. Try to take opinion like that out of it, but I just couldn't get away from it. I've got a 3-wood in the bag. I've got this P790 irons in the bag, which have lasted me so long, and I just can't take them out. I've got the high toe wedges, and I've got a Spider GTX putter in the bag. Now, as a set anyway, I'll come into what I'm going to build in my bag. That's pretty close to what is actually going to be there. There's going to be some crossover. But just in regards of TaylorMade as a brand and as a company, the thing that I just think I've got over all of you is that the guy, Gary Adams, who started TaylorMade, he's the reason why all of you guys are producing what you are now. He's the guy that came out with the titanium driver, the first one ever, and he created it. Sorry, the stainless steel driver, and created it for the very first time. And none of you would have that unless it was for my guy, Gary.
No, that's just nonsense, mate. You're trying to claim credit for the entirety of modern golf club design by one person who was once involved with your company.
Yeah.
No.
Thank you, Gary.
No, I'm not having that. But carry on, please.
Well,
please make your case.
I think that's a wonderful point, but either way. I mean, I've not even gotten to the caliber of player that they're representing right now. I mean, I've got Tiger Woods. Do I really need to say much more than that?
No, what you're actually saying there is I'm not even going to get on to the point where the company I've chosen just pays a lot of money for tour pros to use their equipment.
Don't care. Money's no object to me.
Wow.
Tommy Fleetwood, Rory McIlroy, Scotty Scheffler, Nelly Korda, Brooke Henderson, Charlie Hull. Could I get any more?
Is this what you're basing the weight of your argument on? Like how much they pay their tour players?
Yeah.
My God, I think I'd rather have Srixon than that.
Nah, TaylorMade all the way.
I think I'd rather go to the bargain basement Srixon.
The beauty of TaylorMade as well is the fact that if Kieran's gone, he's isolated into mid-handicap player. You can be anything across the board with TaylorMade, and they can represent whatever you want. The thing if we go into, like, with the wedges, you've got the MG4s that have just come out, and you've got the high toes that I'm using. You've got 2 different profiles that you can look at there, and you can pick one or the other. You go into the irons, you've got the P790s, you've got the P770s, you've got the P7TWs, you've got the P70MBs, the P70MCs. You've got all of this range that you can select from. You can move in and out. You can go split set. You can go all the way up and down the bag.
Sounds like they're not confident with just a few of their
I was about to
clubs.
say, it's
Yeah,
just the fact that they're spreading their wings and too many, they're putting their fingers in too many pies. The thing with Srixon,
because they need that many pies covered. So many people love them.
The thing with Srixon is that what it likes to do is focus on only a couple of models and put all their R&D
and just produce it over and over and over again.
100%.
You were very close to saying put all their eggs in one basket. I
Yeah,
could say it was
literally
right.
was there from Love Island, yeah. No, the reason why they don't, get all these people and get all these tour pros in, because they don't need that. They don't need that. They just want to, and that's why they're not getting involved in the putters, because they know that they've got Scotty Cameron, they've got Odyssey there. They don't.
It's because they're not selling enough golf clubs to afford it. That's why.
I completely disagree with that. We've got the Asian market here. We've got one of the biggest markets in the world of golf, which none of you actually have. You know what I mean?
Oh my.
No.
Srixon is one of the leading sellers in the Asian market, and that cannot be disputed.
If you think that all of our companies have got no hold on anything in the Asian market, then I think you'll be proven wrong.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that I've got a big piece of that pie. I've got a very big piece of that pie, actually.
Either way, I think on top of everything as well with TaylorMade is that in regards to style and creativity and marketing as well as a product, they produce some of the best stuff out there. I mean, just the burner alone, the mini driver is just wonderful. They're bringing out this comic book range of putter head covers and balls and stuff. It's just you don't get that kind of quality and style from anything else.
Why would you put the mini driver in the bag?
Because I don't want to have the Stealth 2.
Why don't you want Stealth 2?
Because
why don't you want their flagship model in there?
Personally, it doesn't cater to me, but that's okay. I'm man enough to say, look, it's not good for me, but it's great for other people, and that's fine. But carbon face, creativity, ingenuity, innovation.
So I'm just going to I'm just going to make sure I get this straight. So you've picked a brand where their flagship model that they've spent decades working on won't be going in the bag because you don't like it.
Yeah, but that's only just on a personal standpoint. That's not because it's a crap club.
I see. But is this nothing but personal standpoints?
True, but that's why I also picked it, because I'm more than happy to go with a mini driver.
I see. What irons did you go for?
The P790s.
P790s. Yeah. Hey, listen, I am not going to argue with most of those points, because TaylorMade are, I would say, across the board, pretty strong.
Yeah,
pretty strong.
I think from head to toe, you can produce and you can create a bag of golf clubs which is very strong. Whether you like the Stealth 2 or not, I personally don't get on with it, but that's fine. I'll go with the mini driver. I'll put the Stealth 2 3-wood in. I'll put the hybrid in, which you've got in the bag and you absolutely love.
Can't argue.
P790 irons have lasted me as long as I can remember, and they've brought out 2 more models since the ones that I've got come out, so I could go up again to those. The high toe wedges I absolutely love, though I will say that around the green they're incredible. On full shots they're not so much, but again, as the player I am, I prefer that more so than the full shots. And the Spider GTX putter complete with a tour response golf ball is a cheat code on the greens, as you've all seen. So I'm not gonna
listen. I think TaylorMade's a good shout. I can hear a lot about what Kieran is saying. I think Srixon make really good clubs. I think TaylorMade overall might be a bit strong, especially for me, stronger in the driver and definitely the putter section.
I'm not keen on those. Their headquarters is in a place called Carlsbad. Come on, that's pretty cool as well.
that's the extent that we're going to, where the HQ is.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Where are you going to go get fit? Oh, the Kingdom. Oh, yes, please.
All right. Well, let me try and find out where my company's headquarters are. That's right, Phoenix. if we go for cool names, do you want to go, or shall I go, David?
You go.
Okay. So I fully respect, first of all, TaylorMade and Srixon, and I think you've made good choices there. I think Srixon's quite a bold choice. I think TaylorMade's pretty safe because they are pretty good across the board. But of course, you are both completely wrong, because if you were going to build a bag from top to bottom, you want consistency, you want quality, and you want reliability in every single section. Now, the only company that does that across the board is Ping. There can be no other choice. We are talking about the G430 driver, the most popular selling driver in the world, probably. And
You can't say that.
it's been, well, I'll put it this way. Ping drivers, like, really slap any G4 and then whatever numbers on the end of them, for the last 10 years have been the best selling drivers amongst regular golfers because they are just the super forgiving, go a long way. They're kind of everything most people want. The new range is fantastic. It just does everything you want a Ping driver to do. Sound is maybe the only thing I'm not quite keen on. But you know what? I'm getting older and I'm getting deaf anyway. So what do I care about? So it's got to be the G430 LST. And I'm just going to get the G430 LST3 wood in there. That's currently in my bag.
How much would you pay for that?
Sorry?
How much would you pay for that?
I'd pay for whatever. I pay whatever I need to.
But how much would you pay for it?
I pay whatever I need to.
How much was your free wood
My 3 wood.
that you obviously got given? But how much is that free wood if you were to buy it off the shelf?
Off the shelf.
Yeah.
It's £499.
You say that again, please.
It's £499.
Sorry,
£499.
it's a bit more than that, isn't it?
No, it's £499.
Is it 499?
But I
For a
don't
free
care.
wood?
I'm getting a bag here.
Is that not bad enough?
I am getting a bag here which I want to last me forever. I want a bag that I know I can trust, and that is Ping. So I've got a G430 LST3 wood in there, an absolute bomb.
Yep.
You know what? I'm going to go one step further. I'm going to get a G437 wood in my bag as well.
Love it.
Now, if you're all talking about a top end of the bag, which is just going to send chills down your spine every time you open up your boot and you pull them bad boys out, like what else is going to do that?
Nah.
But
Not that. That's not doing it for
I've
me.
not even gotten to the most exciting bit of this packet. Have you had a look at the current selection available of Ping irons?
No, to be honest with you, I've got no interest in looking through that Argos catalogue of irons. To be honest, I don't really care.
See, I think Kieran here has kept a bit of a level head.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Is that not the best looking selection of irons of anyone available right now?
Yeah, I mean, so the ones that I kind of picked out for a mid-handicapper, the 525s, look outstanding. Like, I agree with that.
But
they look great.
It is like, I imagine when you have those irons, it must be like what Samurai must have felt like when he opened up his cupboard. He's got all these shiny Samurai swords there, ready to go into battle with, because they are just beautiful looking. Ping managed to blend performance and unique design with beauty better than pretty much anyone. And the I-59 irons, which I will put in, perfect example of that. I was going to go the blueprints,
Yeah.
but they are maybe a little bit good for me at the moment, so I'm going to go the I-59s, which just look fantastic.
Yeah, no, they do look. I can't, I can't fault you there.
David's got them up here. Look at these. Look. I just want to have a look at them, so I get. Oh my god! Oh, that's incredible. You know, we should go on as well, David. Just go on the wedges. Have a look at these wedges that I've got here.
This is great for a podcast, I must say.
So the Glide Forge Pro wedge, I am taking a little bit of a leap here because I've not tested them. But Ping wedges in the past, the Glides I've tested them before, have been absolutely wonderful.
So why did you not put it? When you did that build my bag wedges, why did you not include the Ping within it?
Because I've got a set of wedges which I believe are also very good. The thing is, this is not me saying that every single Ping club is better than every other manufacturer. This is me saying that throughout the bag, Ping are the strongest. This is basically like you've got an amazing... Kieran, you have, with Srixon, a really good football team with the irons, fantastic midfield. It's incredible midfield with those irons.
Yeah,
it's one of the best, and also probably one of the most underrated.
Yeah, definitely.
No one's putting the ball in the net.
Yeah, up front, there's you basically have Chelsea, Romelu Lukaku up front.
Partnered by Weghorst on loan at United.
You cannot stick it in the net. That's what you've got there with that Cleveland putter.
Don't know if I can agree with that.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. I do know what you mean. Like, I have got a Barcelona midfield. I've got pretty much like a Man City defence in the woods, but then up top.
Wow. I'm not sure about that. Man City defence of the Carabao Cup, maybe.
Yeah.
Other energy drinks are available.
Like, they still go a long way. I remember when you compared them to the Mizuno.
Hey, listen, they're perfectly fine,
Yeah,
but they're not.
Yeah. The distance.
They're not Ping.
City potentially had the best defence in the world last year. I'm not putting the Srixon upwards as the best in the world.
Yeah. I would
All right,
I would have to agree with that.
all right. Man City, not the treble the year before.
Just a double winners.
yeah. Just the double winners. I'll give you that.
I mean,
but they don't lack on distance.
no, they're absolutely fine. But again, it's just like throughout the bag. Like so far, my bag. Like I'm obviously a little bit biased, but quite frankly, it's just better than all of yours.
I'm just all I've heard is compromise after compromise, Pete. I don't
Compromise.
I don't really like the sound of the driver. I haven't really tested the wedges.
Yeah.
No,
Nah.
not buying it.
No, I'm sorry.
What
No.
was the obviously Ping had a 18-month R&D research from the 425 to the 430. Would you imagine that you would be getting at least 10, 15 yards? How much of an increase did you have?
Now, I have to say, Kieran,
That's a great point.
You have chosen the wrong angle to attack me from here.
Why?
Because there is not a single person watching this who does not appreciate the fact that Ping actually takes their time between releases.
Oh no!
No, here we go.
I'm
Hang on.
such a
Beep.
I am such an advocate for that. The fact that brands bring out a clubs every year, I think is ridiculous. But so I think it's great. But what I'm saying is that in the time process from the 425 to the 430, you would like to see a little bit of an improvement.
Ping, for the first time, have introduced graphite into their carbon into their driver design.
Yeah, but
how is that not
It's
upping their game in that time period?
It's very innovative. but
All right, okay.
is-
So you said that Ping, yes, they've been innovative. Yes, it's great that they take their time between releases. So what's the issue here?
because has it increased forgiveness? Has it increased distance compared to the G430?
Listen,
I don't think it has.
According to the Ping engineers, it has. And that is who I'm basing this on. I'm basing this on the people who've actually built these clubs.
But I'm basing this off a YouTuber that I've watched called Peter Finch or something like that.
And
when
does
when he reviewed the
And
G430,
has he not said how good these clubs are? Has he not on repeat?
I believe he said that the G430 was great,
There we go,
But-
ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Peter Finch said these woods are great.
but because it was so good.
I know you're getting hinting into it.
It's
Oh,
Yeah.
like what? So you're trying to score a point against me from saying
Because it's being too good.
yeah, because I'm too good.
Yeah,
okay.
because-
No, you know what? Your Honor, I will take the fact that Ping are just too good, and I apologise on behalf of the whole company. Okay, does that fix it? Because I've not even got onto the big surprise package of this bag. The PLD putters.
No.
We are talking about the most underrated premium milled putters in golf. And you know what? I'm going to go for the Oslo.
That's the one I put.
Oh,
down
yeah.
for you.
I am going to go for the Oslo 4 in matte black.
Yep.
Because when that putter comes out, like imagine playing someone in match play, you pull that putter out.
Yeah.
Inside 15 foot, they were like, yeah, pick it up.
But you are paying £249 for that putter.
Kieran, like I am already deep into this Ping bag. I'm not going to care how much I'm spending for this putter right now. Listen, you're over there. You're counting out your pennies that you've been putting in your swear jar all year. You're like, oh, can I afford this Huntington Beach putter? Oh, I don't care at this point. I'm like, boom, Oslo in the bag. Get me down to the club. I'm going to be playing some golf. Yeah,
Yeah, I hope so.
you're right. I'm not driving around the petrol station saying, oh no, should I put £10 in my car or 50? I'm like, boom, in the electric, down to the club, smash it. I am loving my Ping right now. You know what? I'm not looking at any other brands. I'm seeing the hole in front of me. I'm not looking at you guys behind me. All right, I'm out there. You know what, Ping? I just don't know, David. Like, whatever you come up with, I just don't know how you're going to beat Ping.
So before I come on to mine, can I just, because there'll be like honourable mentions and things like that, as someone who used to have Mizuno irons in the bag, and as someone who is currently holing everything from outside of the range that you would hole with a PLD with a Mizuno putter, were you not tempted to go Mizuno?
Well, I would have to say we've got Mizuno, we've got Callaway is the one which I'm presuming that you've picked, but then you've also got someone like Titleist. You've got a lot of companies now from top to toe who are doing very good stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, it's not like there's one good thing probably about modern club manufacturers that across the board literally anyone we picked, we could make arguments for. Like, there's no one bad out there.
Massively, and I think that at the end of the day, kind of comes down to marketing, and it comes down, Callaway this year have been fantastic, and TaylorMade are very, very good at marketing, which something that I'd say like a ping falls down on. Like, for example, do you remember when they did their...
Kieran, I've got to be honest, we don't need that much marketing because our clubs speak for themselves.
Yeah, but I mean...
Our clubs.
We wait 18...
It's like a job interview.
We wait 18 months for these G430s. We agonisingly waited, and the release of them were poor. You know what I mean? Like the press
the wait
release.
Was agonising, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was so excited about this driver. I was so excited to see it. How could you top the G430?
I think
the G425.
I can top any driver, to be fair.
Very good. I think this year, I mean, as far as that's concerned, Callaway
definitely
they've nailed
smashed
it this
it,
year. Like their marketing over the last few years and the way they've released stuff and the clubs they brought out, they've smashed it. But they are the biggest company in golf now because of like their stuff with Top Golf and Top Tracer,
and
everything.
Like that,
like they're just absolutely smashing out of the ballpark.
Yeah.
So
yeah, this has been like super, super tough to hear you guys talk about all these brands and stuff because I feel like I should be jumping in and criticising, but
very quiet.
But one,
It's quite quiet.
I really like all the three brands that you mentioned, and two, as your brand manager, Pete, I work with these brands, so I don't really want to piss anyone off. So
This is true. So this is going to be like, who's going to be emailing David first on Monday?
yeah, I'm going to be in a lot.
Where does David want to get a set of clubs from?
That's true. I'm
his
burning all
contacts.
my bridges but one. That's pretty tough.
Yeah.
But so in the end, I've gone for Titleist.
Okay.
And obviously this isn't the reason why I went for them, but I actually feel like a lot of golfers would put Titleist in their top three. Probably not necessarily top, but just because of the sheer range of clubs that they've got, I think it does have mass appeal. For me, I can only speak about myself as a golfer, and as the only high handicapper in the room, I feel that, again, while I think Srixon is a great brand, Srixon if you're watching,
Mr. Srixon if you're watching.
Mr. Srixon if you're watching, I don't feel that there's necessarily anything for me, like my battles with injuries and just me falling over and not being able to swing a club properly are well documented.
Do you feel that Srixon doesn't represent you as a golfer?
Probably not. I think.
In what sense? How can we help you?
What do you need to go back
What do you need help with?
Well, let me put it like this: if I were to get a set of irons right now, I mean the clubs that are currently in my bag, I use the Wilson launch pads, which are great. But whenever I rock up at a golf course, whenever I play with people I haven't played with in a while, I will get teased about it. There's no two ways about it. Like, I'm 29 years old and I have like hybrids, like all the way from I think 4 to maybe pitching wedge in my bag. So that's I like the performance that I get from it. I like the feel of the clubs, but I would like that in a more stylish, covert package. And I think the two brands that do that best, one is actually TaylorMade. They've got the Stealth.
Oh, yeah.
I can't remember. Stealth HD?
Yeah, Stealth HDs, yeah.
Stealth HDs. They're very good, but I think Titleist are just slightly better. They've got the T400s, which I think for the TaylorMade, it looks like a very compact hybrid, but for Titleist, it actually looks like an iron. And even though you won't get maybe the same feel that you would with a Mizuno or the workability or street creds that you apparently get with a ping.
The street smarts.
Yeah.
Wear a hat like that.
Yeah. You would still get that same forgiveness with the Titleist. And that's before we get on to the rest of the bag. I kind of think anyone who, I mean, Kieran's maybe a bit young for this, but anyone who's grown up over the last 30 years watching golf remembers Tiger Woods, and you associate him with Scotty Cameron. So I would gravitate to a Newport. I think the three best clubs I've ever used, once again, on the greens are TaylorMade Spider, Sick Golf. I can't remember the make of it now.
The bladed one.
The bladed one, not the arm lock one, but the bladed one.
Yeah, normal size.
But you know, I've borrowed that a couple of times.
No,
And then
That's where it went.
no, it's somewhere.
the Scotty Cameron Newport,
Okay.
which just feels better than anything. And I hole some putts, which is better than most putters that I tend to use. And you go up throughout the bag, and you've got the TSR1 if you're a bit wayward, or TSR2 if I'm feeling a bit better.
A little bit fruity, a little bit more.
But I feel that for the average golfer, not the average golfer, for the high handicap golfer, I'll put it that way, because I'm more that way, unfortunately. I think we're probably slightly better catered for. And I was looking through like Ping, despite the fact that Ping have a massive collection
Yeah, what have you got going on over there?
of fantastic premium irons.
Yeah, nothing.
I don't think there's anything that strikes me as super game improvement. There is game improvement.
What?
What do you think?
You're handicapist over there.
Have you never even held the G430 irons?
I've hit the G430 irons, and they're not as forgiving as the Cleveland launchers.
Well, no, that is a given. You know what?
So
I am willing to hold my hands up on behalf of Ping and say, you know what? Fair play. We are not as forgiving as a full set of hybrids.
I should also say as well that I think everyone does cater for every type of golfer, but I feel that Titleist better cater for the super high handicap.
And we were told to pick for us.
Yeah.
As David feels, this is.
I must be honest. I think with Titleist, I think a lot of people out there, me included, I would say that they cater for the better player better. It's interesting.
Titleist?
Yeah. It's interesting that you think like they cater for a high handicap.
Well, maybe that's true as well. I think just looking from wedge selection, there probably isn't as like it's basically SM9 or nothing, isn't it?
Vokey.
Yeah.
So, like, essentially. So in that sense, it doesn't necessarily cater to someone who needs maximum forgiveness with a wedge. But I think when it comes down to short game and things like that, that is the area of golf that you want to have fun with.
Yeah.
And I still, again, I have Vokeys in the bag, which maybe I would do better if I had a different wedge in the bag, but I have a lot more fun with them compared to anything else I've ever tried, like in the studio. And from that sense, I'm never ever going to shoot a sub 75 round. I've
Not
come
with that
to,
attitude.
Yeah, but you know what? No, that's what I actually think. Defines someone who wants all Titleist clubs. Bad attitude. Defeatist.
I'll be honest. When I was looking at like Srixon irons and stuff like that, I thought, God, there's no like game improvement ones. But then when you talked about
Cleveland
launchers,
it depends if you want to put them in and Zexio.
that has just strengthened my case even more. But you carry on.
All this has done is strengthen your case to say, why don't you just go full bag of Cleveland?
Yeah.
You should really, yeah.
Well,
Yeah. If you're going on cost, you should have done that.
We'll
It's
cut
too
your
late
bit
for that.
out and you can go again. But like the final thing about it is just in terms of branding, marketing, this is just a personal thing. I think there are some brands out there, I think Callaway, TaylorMade are probably the best at marketing because everything is dramatic and there's a lot of colour and vibrancy in everything they do.
Yeah.
That appeals to most people, but I'm also not most people. I think I quite like the consistency that you get with Titleist and things like the number one ball in golf, and I think everything is a lot more classic in a way.
Yeah.
Like,
Titleist is that personified.
Whereas TaylorMade is like super ultra modern, and that's not me.
That's not you.
That's not me. So on behalf of the senior golfers out there, I am team Titleist on this occasion.
I mean, especially like in the UK, the fact that when you go to Woburn, there's that Titleist sort of performance centre. That would you say that's probably the best fitting centre in the UK?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. So they've definitely got that in terms of obviously in the US, like it's a lot bigger. Like all of them have it. I imagine. Like you got
Yeah,
Kingdom, you got
the performance center of Woburn is elite. I mean, it is fantastic, and that's what I always think with Titleist. Like certainly when I was growing up, like the Tiger effect, but also Titleist always seemed to put most of their energy into being seen as the iron and the clubs for that aspirational better player.
Yeah.
I always felt that certainly in the past they maybe left the higher handicap golfers kind of alone. Like that wasn't really their market. But I do quite like the fact that you don't feel that way. That's quite interesting.
No, I normally would have agreed with that. I think maybe even 5, 6, 7 years ago, when I was like slightly better, I still wouldn't have been able to use anything in their lineup.
Yeah, we do have a video coming out actually with some Titleist irons, and when I went for the fitting, I must admit, like, I did prefer the game improvement irons a little bit more than the T100, T150. Because I didn't really think there was much of a difference in them. Like the actual game improvement irons, I must agree that I thought they were some of the more exciting ones. It's just such a shame that you're up against Ping.
And then you're both up against TaylorMade.
And then all three of you are up against Srixon. It's like
I think when it comes to like conversations like this, I always think of it as when you go straight down the middle and you think about the irons, I think you really can't go wrong anywhere anymore. Like I think irons across the board, you're always going to find really good ones. And whether it comes down to if you prefer the look of an iron, even if that's just like behind the ball or even just how it looks in your hand, that can just sway people one way or the other. Then when it's either side of that is when you just start to kind of knock off these other companies. And it's for Titleist was the other one that I was definitely considering, because if you think about the Vokeys in the wedges and the Scotty Camerons in the putters, in terms of like Titleist and as a brand holding its own, almost like two other separate companies. I know it's obviously all under the same umbrella, but you just, because it's the Vokeys and because it's the Scotty Camerons, you kind of just don't even think about it so much. Whereas obviously all these other brands together, apart from with Srixon going into Cleveland, they kind of all come under the same name, same umbrella term. It's really, again, obviously this just highlights opinionated and how different people perceive different club brands, but it's just a shame that all three of you were wrong at the same time. That's the thing I just don't get.
I would say that a few of the brands, like with Titleist, one thing that they have, I think when you put a Titleist driver behind the ball, you know it's a Titleist driver. Yeah. Like they have a certain look. I think Ping to a certain extent because they've got the turbolator things on, but I think probably more than anything with the Ping, when you put that irons behind the ball, you'd know it's a Ping iron. Like again, they have that certain kind of look about them, and they have for many years. I would say that TaylorMade is an interesting one because TaylorMade do seem to live a little bit more on the edge. Like they're not afraid of putting a carbon face on a driver, for example. They're not afraid of altering things very drastically each year. I think maybe the only thing that's stayed the same for any period of time is probably the Spider putter as far as like that brand.
But then even I suppose some people could argue that they did a bad thing going away from just like what the original Spider was. Now I have a putter in the bag which is away from that original Spider, and I love it. So
it's got a Spider name, hasn't it?
Spider umbrella term.
I suppose probably the other one is P790 irons. Like they've kept that name and the general look for a long time. I think with Srixon, I do love their irons. I think maybe again it is more of that east-west split. The only thing that Srixon probably don't have too much in the club department is that kind of real identity. Like everyone knows Srixon balls. I think people might struggle to like name what their irons are or like name what their driver is, for example. That's not to say they're not good clubs. It's just that how do you get into a marketplace that's already quite kind of saturated?
Yeah, and that can come down to the fact that Jacob spoke about earlier, the fact that they don't have very many tour players. Like obviously everyone can name what's in Rory's bag, everyone can name what's in John Rahm's bag, but not very many people can name like maybe Brooks Koepka, but no one could name like.
I bet you could.
I bet I could. I know a shaft, but it's in terms of like brand awareness, like it's you don't see Srixon every now and again. You know what I mean? Like it's not in your face as much.
I genuinely would be interested to ask people like what brand of irons does Brooks have, and see if they actually know.
Yeah.
I would be interested to know that.
Yeah.
To be honest, I think like even though from a just a marketing standpoint, it does play quite a big part in this. Like even though Brooks obviously is an incredible player, he seemed a weird person to sign. Like, is not very, like, when he wins, and again, I think it does come down to like awareness. Like, if a John Rahm wins a major or whatever, like, Callaway just go mad with it, and it's everywhere.
Yeah.
And you know that John Rahm is Callaway. Like, when Brooks won the USPGA this year, it was kind of like, there's a few posts about it, but it didn't seem to like.
But again, that does come down to their sort of their marketing and their social presence. Like, they don't really have that presence of, you go on Callaway's Instagram page and it's got over 1 million followers, whereas you go on Srixon's, it's got 100. You know what I mean?
And that's why they can't be considered the best overall brand.
But it's about, at the end of the day, it comes down to not about the marketing, not about that. It comes down to the actual pure feel of a golf club, and you can't argue that Srixon have the best feeling irons of the four of us.
I would say you can argue that point pretty strongly.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
Like, at the end of the day, I think David is right with what he said about irons. Realistically, nobody makes a bad feeling iron.
No.
Like, I'm not being funny. Ping irons now are forged.
Yeah.
Like, I remember going to Ping literally 10 years ago now, and chatting to the engineers. And after, do you remember the Answer range that came out?
I do, yeah.
So the Answer range was a fully forged iron that Ping brought out. If you can get a set of these secondhand, by the way, they're still absolutely amazing. Again, just kind of testament to the quality of the club builder.
They lost lots of money. They lost
loads.
So much money.
And after, because they were so expensive when they came out, and it was kind of an unping iron in many respects. So Ping said at the time when I went to visit, we've tried forged, we can do it, but it didn't work for us, so we're not going to do it again. And that's what they said back then. And now they've obviously found a way to kind of incorporate it within their clubs. And now Ping, again, make great feeling clubs, as does Srixon, as the TaylorMade, as the Titleist, as does everybody. At the end of the day, with forging is something which is throughout every company now. And it's done at pretty much the same factories. Like, unless you want like a real, probably some of the differences, you've got Mizuno, which have their own kind of forging house. Well, factory forging house. Sounds a bit.
Doesn't Srixon?
Srixon is China based as far as their forging. I might be wrong. Correct me. Pretty sure it is. But I know Mizuno is. But if you want like that with forged irons, and we've made videos on this before, you can get super niche with it, and it's a lovely story. But metal doesn't really matter where it's forged in the world. Is metal like it's gonna it doesn't know that it's forged in Japan. It doesn't know if it's forged outside of Stoke. As long as you've got the right equipment
and the right guy doing it.
Yeah, and that's why most of these irons are generally made in the same areas, because the equipment that they have is like located in the same areas. So yeah, it's not.
Yeah, which is maybe why, because obviously Srixon is a smaller brand, it kind of seems that like it feels a bit more personal. Whereas if I pick up a TaylorMade, it feels a bit different.
I thought Srixon were the biggest brand in Asia.
Well, they are, yeah.
Which is the biggest golf market in the world. So you're not small.
We're not in Asia. Obviously,
you're massive.
Obviously, if we went to Japan, you probably wouldn't feel like that. But we're not in Japan. We're in Scotland right now, and not very many people have.
To be honest, mate, the way it feels, I think we're in the middle of the desert right now. It's absolutely roasting.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. Like it feels cool. Not everyone has a Srixon set. You know what I mean? And if I had enough money, I would probably be going for like the Itaboris. Yeah, I love that. I love that.
See, that's the thing. I would say that, like with the Itaboris, for example, like I can get there's sets of Titleist, for example, that feel as nice as Itaboris. Sets of Pings. Every iron feels good when you strike it out of the middle, pretty much. But it is that uniqueness.
Yeah, definitely.
So I would say that not a lot of people have Srixon irons, and that would be unique, but probably not quite unique enough to tempt me around to your way of thinking.
One brand that hasn't really come up, and it's probably the biggest brand that we haven't mentioned, unless if I missed it, is Cobra. And I used to have pretty much a full bag of Cobra. I was just interested Like, was it ever in anyone's thoughts, or are they just?
Nah.
Because
Not really.
I think some brands, it goes in cycles, and they'll have like good years, bad years. I'm just interested, like what parts of the bag stopped you going there?
So, I mean, I didn't like the drivers this year for a start.
I don't think I can remember such a polarizing of opinion in a driver than the LCDX, and just so many people love it and then completely hate it at the same time.
And then they had like the Aerojet.
Aerojet one.
Yeah.
Kind of, it's just, it's, I don't know, with Cobra, they seem to have these like little peaks and troughs where they bring a club out which is massively popular, and then don't kind of back it up a bit. Like it doesn't seem to be a consistent kind of growth. But I mean, Cobra, they still make some really good clubs. I think if you're looking overall, it just doesn't, I don't know, just doesn't get me.
No, I agree with that. The 3D printed putters they brought out a year ago or so, they're good feeling putters.
Yeah, and they had kind of like an interesting story.
Yep.
But will they continue? Because that's something which I think Titleist do really well, is that, a Scotty Cameron putter, for example, it changes like year on year. There's little things introduced, there's new models, but it's generally people buying a Newport or a Newport 2. Scotty Cameron, it's the same. It's that it doesn't really change or alter, and it's got that real legacy behind it.
Yeah.
I think with like a TaylorMade, like they do live on the edge, but there's a couple of drivers which they've brought out, like which just altered completely overnight, and it doesn't feel like they kind of have that same amount of legacy behind it, because they're always changing stuff, they're always trying new things. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah. Do you think that like a TaylorMade and like a Callaway, obviously, that they invest a lot into their marketing, a lot into their social media and stuff like that. Do you think they are just doing these things like putting carbon on on their woods and putting carbon on their faces? They're just doing it for a marketing purpose, or do they think that it actually is going to improve the game? Because
I think so, because we've definitely got to a position now with especially drivers that for the tour player, they're going to be getting 2 to 5 yards of distance increases maybe from year to year, because essentially the equipment they use, they're as good with anything, and they swing it the same and they look great. And with a average player, if the forgiveness is increased a little bit more, those kind of things will come into play a little bit more. So when it's coming down to these like small incremental changes, especially in drivers, there's got to be a definite sort of interest in trying different things and changing different things just to find something, because they're pushing so far to the edge now with everything that we're getting to a point with driver heads going to the maximum size and the MOI and the moment of inertia. Everything like that is just being pushed so far to the edge now that anything that they can find, whether it's a change in club face and a change in material, that's what they're going to promote the most of their time and effort into. And what something TaylorMade has found with the carbon face, which this year we found is been a little bit erratic in staying in the club head or not, that they have found that there is some slight increase in product of striking the golf ball.
David, it looked like you're about to drop something.
It's like
I was, and then I was stunned.
Yeah.
Wow.
All I was going to join in and saying that is like 100% agree, because there's loads of people getting paid a lot of money to try and chase
More
like
distance.
these gains. Because if you somehow nail it and you come out with a driver that is 5 yards further, provably 5 yards further than the competition, you get 60% of the market. Yeah. Because people will see that, and right now people will do what we all do, is if you're going to buy anything in any walk of life, you probably go on YouTube and you look at reviews for it. And if that's what everyone's found, then... But that's the key thing. It's that proof. And I think what TaylorMade do is they try and like prove that their driver is different every year, whether it's a different face or putting a fin on the back or something like that. And they draw more attention to those changes. I think Callaway are beginning to do a bit more of that, but a lot of their changes have been on the other side of the club face. A lot of it's been AI technology changing, I don't know what you call it, but like the thickness on the back of the face and things like that. So that's why they're putting so much money into marketing, is because you've got to prove to anyone who's bought a driver in the last 5 years that there has been a meaningful change at a glance, and that is super, super tough to do.
Yeah, because just an example of it, like Sim, because I remember you love the Sim, and how much of a marked improvement is the Sim to, or how much is the Stealth 2 a marked improvement on the Sim?
To be honest, I think those two drives I've not really. My current driver and my old Sim, I've not kind of done a direct comparison between those two. I have a hunch that, I mean, when I strike them out the middle, there's probably not going to be too much difference at all.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah, and I'm saying I think that's just a generalised sort of statement across the driver market as a whole. Like I think you can hit the Rogue and you can hit the Paradigm just as well. There won't be much difference in between those two either. I think it's just kind of the way things go. Now, did TaylorMade have to make the face red? Probably not, but it was a talking point, and it certainly got people interested.
Should have made it redder.
Yeah.
Should have made it brighter. Yeah. Should have made it glow in the dark red.
Have they decided now that you can, calibrate your driver and you can have a different coloured face and stuff?
Face, absolutely.
Of course, that's fully buying into the marketing and personalisation of golf clubs. But
it is like marketing of golf clubs. It is like Dave said, trying to introduce something new, something to hang the story on each year.
Yeah.
And the changes in performance, they are incremental. You're not going to see until it adds up over like 10, 20 years realistically. And technology has pushed up against pretty much all the legal limits. Like the thing that most of the manufacturers are trying to do more and more of is make ball speed and make consistency better across the face, because at the sweet spot, when you strike it well, last 5-10 years of drivers, like they're all going to do the same thing. And then obviously the balls make a massive difference. So I mean, the changes are small, but they're enough for us to talk about and get excited about.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I just that comparing it to like a Srixon to a TaylorMade is that there is that added pressure for TaylorMade, because they spend these millions and millions and millions of dollars a year on marketing that Srixon don't. They more put those millions into the actual performance of the club. That's what I'm trying to
leave it alone.
Do you know what I'm trying to get at? Do you know what I'm trying to get at?
Waffle.
Not having that.
No. I genuinely believe that. I genuinely believe that there's, there is. If you're the social media manager of TaylorMade, there's a lot more pressure on you to make every release better than the last year.
I agree with you that, but
it's
saying that TaylorMade spend more of their millions into the marketing, whereas Srixon spend theirs into the performance, is not true.
It's not. That's not the case.
Well, more about the R&D of their club, not necessarily the performance. Yeah, that's what they're ultimately trying to improve the performance of the club.
For a start, like, we don't have the figures. Like you're literally just saying, I think that's what might happen. Like you're giving an opinion and stating as a fact here.
Yeah. More meaning that, like,
Your Honour.
Yeah. More meaning that I'd love to see the numbers of TaylorMade's marketing, and social media sort of budget compared to Srixon. Do you know what I mean? So there is that added pressure of we've spent all this money on our social stuff and all of our marketing. But how can we make it better each year?
But you would say with Srixon as well, like a lot of their marketing and the bulk of their activity doesn't go into their clubs; it goes into their balls, because their balls are the biggest selling thing they do.
Could you also argue that the reason why there's so much pressure more on TaylorMade and their marketing and social side to sell clubs is because they spend so much money on the R&D and the development of the golf clubs that they need to recuperate the costs for it? Because Srixon, it could be, say, they don't spend as much on it, so they don't need to sell as much.
Yeah, potentially. But like Pete just said, that Srixon do sell a lot of balls and do sell a lot of clubs, in the Asian markets.
I think as well, it's the fact that, like, with TaylorMade, because they've got, and like Ping, and their Titleist, they've got such a huge legacy of making really good clubs. They've got to keep it up. Now with Srixon, it's a bit like, well done. Keep on trying.
Keep on plucking
you
away.
little plucky underdog.
It does help when these companies have got something to, like, hang their hat on, like a ball that they just know is just going to sell. That then, like you say, things that they might not necessarily have to commit so much time or money-wise.
it's
They
the
know
same
where it's coming from.
It's the same with most like Titleist. Titleist do not make their money on their clubs. They make their money
on
off
the
the
ball.
Pro V and their balls.
Yeah.
Like that. That is where they get their cash from.
Yeah.
I mean, probably. I know. I keep bringing this back, obviously, to Ping, but Ping truly are really the only company that have not done the ball thing. Like
Yeah.
even
That's
Mizuno
true.
have like dipped into the ball market now. Wilson, I know they were in it for a while, but their ball's actually pretty good as well. So like Ping are the only one who steadfastly haven't done that.
Yeah.
Wasn't like I'm probably well off with this. Wasn't the split design ball the half and half? Wasn't that originally a ping ball?
Yeah, like literally back in the day, I think they were trying to make balls, but the actual setup cost of doing it they found too expensive. But this was like literally 20, 30 years ago.
Yeah, they need to come back to it.
It's like when Nike realised that releasing golf clubs in general was too expensive.
but listen, again, Ping don't need to do it because their quality golf clubs is so good that they know that they're just going to get people buying them. Like, what's the point in bringing something out that you don't believe in?
Yeah, and you could argue that the same with the Srixon. Like they're not going to. Do you know what I mean? They're not going to bring out a putter because they know that
no one will buy it.
Well, but do you know what? Yeah, probably. That is, and I imagine that's what it's like with Ping as well. Why would I switch to a Ping ball when I love the Pro V1X or the TP5? You know, like they don't need to waste their money on it because they don't think that the manpower and the labour and everything that goes into that.
The most important thing here, apart from Ping being the best, is like what you guys think while we were listening and watching. Let us know. Let us know who you would actually have as your.
Yeah, I think there's a small court settlement that needs to come in and use this room. So
yeah, I think so. We've got a lot of unpaid parking tickets that are due in here in front of the magistrates. So that'll be coming in very, very soon. But that was a good chat. That was a good discussion. Well researched as well, guys. Really appreciate that. What is it? Is there literally any other business that we need to talk about, or is this a case of wrapping this up?
I think next episode, hopefully, we should be back to the four of us minus David again.
I see.
But
hopefully,
as in.
No, you've said it now.
And we'll get back to our guess the player.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, we can't afford David's guest fees as well, so he's
getting expensive.
He's gonna have to drop out.
Yeah.
It's getting very spenny right now.
Yeah.
Well, and also, we're going to be filming a video tomorrow. That means that one of us might not be here.
Are we? So we'd probably discuss this off. Are we actually doing this video?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
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 Are you sure you just don't want to have a nice time?
No,
like,
no,
I mean,
not have to stress.
would I rather? Yes, but should we do the video? Also, yes,
because it's that good.
But-
Can we?
Alright,
But
fine.
we can talk about this off air. It's fine.
Okay. I honestly don't think it's a good idea, but you guys want to do it, so all I want to do. Oh, just do me a favor. Before we go, I want you to all message your significant others, your guardians, your parents, and just make 100% clear that this is not my idea.
Okay.
All right, that I have no responsibility for this.
Yeah, that's fine.
And this is a decision taken by you as individuals.
There is genuine jeopardy in this video.
Yeah, there's
Genuine.
So, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah,
You all agree?
I agree with
Okay,
that. I agree with
fantastic. Right, so on that bombshell, guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed on YouTube, make sure you do, and follow us on your favourite podcast provider. It's been a wonderful podcast. It's been a great discussion. We are now about to head out into the balmy Scottish summer to produce more stunning videos. So thank you so much for being with us, and we'll see you next time.